Here we are beginning to complete the design development drawing.
If I get this, I get my noon, 1 o'clock.
This one, yeah, this will take you out, as long as they can put control on there.
Andy's just saying, 30 copies, even more, 30, so you got single school, we'll do a folder probably. Right.
Andy,
Yeah,
how long on the first floor you think, just picking up red line?
probably about 3 hours.
Yeah, that's
So
new.
good, so 1 o'clock then Andy will be ready to
Send out for copy.
take them to the printers, right? This little stuff?
We'll have the site plan completed in just any minute.
All right.
Next 15, 20 minutes, it'll be out of the closet.
When you get it printed, all of it, everybody will holler. Look at it. Thank you.
Certainly.
There's the site plan on computer.
Where you capture the frame.
Here's the model being constructed on the Nyati. Bill Wadley, chief designer on the project. And would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. Model Builder, after all these hours on the job?
John Sotilli, building the model, still at it, at the 11th hour.
When is the 11th hour, the 12th hour arrive on this model?
What time are you leaving in the plane tomorrow?
Oh, I would say probably noon today.
John's been working on this about a week, and it's looking great. Beautiful model. The front of the building. Correction. This is the entrance to the auditorium of the building from the student parking area. We're moving around towards the entrance. Get away from the building a bit. See the student parking area, the auditorium, just to the left of the student parking. And the drive is to the visitors and parents drop-off area. We'll get down close to it. It's the front entrance of the building, also the parents and visitors. And going on around the building. Parking area at the back is staff parking, parking for the buses to pick up and deliver students. Let's go back and take a look at that side of the building. Okay. back of the building, actually the side where most of the students will come in off of the buses, and that's an entrance into the student center area and also to the library. This is the library, the area sticking out here. This is the gymnasium. And then beyond that, the high roof area is the stage, loft over the stage.
My north would be this way, true north is that.
Let's see, well, I have
20 degrees and then 45 degrees, so you're going to keep
it's down pretty high. Well, no.
So 20 degrees off, curl up in the building for true north.
Here are the colored sketches being completed of Bill Wadley. He's adding color to the ones that will be displayed to the board. Working on the sketch of the student center area.
Bruce Rainwater, call the operator. Ruth.
So you can see it's a combination of creativity and hand sketches, model building, and computerized drawings that goes into making the final design development drawings and package. One area that we haven't mentioned is the estimating area, which is a very important area in any project. This is the Monty Zychek doing the final check on the cost estimate.
Where is he
It's
coming?
been prepared.
10,225 then.
And cross checks on the estimate.
Yeah, I'm just checking, make sure everything's correct on it.
Good.
Okay, then I've got one.
Guarantee it?
And contingency fund number one.
Yeah, I'll guarantee it.
I think that's an Oklahoma guarantee, isn't it, Tom?
Energy management
Yeah, you can say that.
cost of $720. That item was deleted.
This is also part of the design development package.
So I'm
You
putting
see
it in
these
as a deduct.
thousands of numbers that he and Don Hensley
No
have
problem.
put together
Well, Reagan probably didn't tell you
to
about it.
come up with the final estimate
It was in the
of the
contingency
project,
fund
which
number
should
one,
be
item
within
10,
about 5%
for
or
$720.
less.
It was deleted and you never, so I just took my 720 back. That tells me that I've got a total deduct for change order number 2.
For the design development packages, the outline specifications, Mickey Bourne is completing these at the present time. This in layman's terms will tell what is being included in the building as far as materials, the quality, and so forth, which that along with the cost estimate should give a good idea to the board as to what they want to use. There will probably be some refinements as far as materials as the construction documents are prepared, but all of this information is given to the board so they can weigh the design, the materials, and the cost to come up with a intelligent decision on what they want to build.
If the public wants to, they can move over to watch this. We're having to make the presentation to the board, and it might be easier for you to see. Along with this, the design concept, our team has developed a model so that you can better understand the concept. And I open that up for your observation and review today. And what I'll be doing is taking you through some of the design sketches that relate to this model. And this is the completion of the design development stage. This is our fourth meeting with the board. We've brought you through the stages that we've developed the plans of Oñate and kept you in the public and kept Oñate High School involved through the design process. The February 12th is when we started with the programming. February 13th, February 12th we met with the board and told you how we were going to proceed and what the schedule was that we needed to meet to be able to get the students in this school in '93. On February 13th, the next day, the program started. On February 28th, the preliminary designs were approved at a meeting at Oñate High School that the public and the board attended. Last meeting, I gave you a preliminary update on the continued refinement of the design packet and the program. And the completion of that is what you have in front of you right now. And the further completion is a detailed model to scale and a rendering. And then the interior perspective I'd like to take you through, give you just a short review, again, updating you on what we've already talked about with their people. The first drawing that's in your book, and it's rendered here, is the site plan. You want to follow it in the book, we can explain it a little bit. We've had some meetings with the city, as we talked to you about at the last meeting. One of the things the city has asked us to do is provide them with a 65-foot easement on the west property for a pond. That is in the estimate that you'll see in the book. So all of that has been designed in and costed out as part of the project to allow for a tremendous amount of backup for students leaving the campus in the afternoon, and also for good access in the morning when they come in. The project, as you can see, the model is oriented again towards the Oregon Mountains. As you can see in the rendering, the gymnasium and the auditorium, and the rest of the school, as we explained in the last meeting, can be completely closed off. So we have a tremendous amount of parking with easy entrance and an identifiable entrance also for the auditorium and the gymnasium. Going on to the floor plans, that'll be more clearly shown. I think they pulled that covered, or that rounded covered area that comes in from the beginning. And the drop-off area is located there. As we described earlier, the building is almost divided down the middle with heavy noise concentrated areas on one side of the building and academic areas located on the other, with a high emphasis to the media center or library, which is located on the opposite side of the student commons. It runs the full length of the building. And you'll see how that develops with some of the renderings we have to create a very exciting space for students to go to school.
Who take them to get there?
Well, the time that they have between class. I can't. This particular number of feet have been developed based on other criteria that has been used in other high schools, and has not been a problem. It does not give them time to stop. They need to, if they're in PE, they need to take, they need to go, and they can get to class anywhere within the building within the normal break of class. It's not as bad as some of the outlying buildings in at Mayfield and at Las Cruces High, for that matter, that are way out, coming all the way to the other end of the building. There's no difference. Plus, this will all be enclosed. You won't be outside in the wind or the weather. Remember, the building's all under one roof. It's a big building, and that's why a portion of it is on the second floor, so that we can cut down that vertical transportation time, or that time it takes to get from one class to the other.
If I may add to that one, the same sign that has been used at the school currently, I'd like to have, I think, 6 minutes to get
Can't give you the exact time. Some kids aren't going to make it. We know that because they decided to stop and talk. My daughters, if they were doing it, would never make it. So we have some stone that we're developing in, some native stone from the area, and a very informal, large gathering area that will be used for lots of different functions. The next one is a picture of, with these on top of each other again. Is the gymnasium, a rendering. One of the things that we're going to do, as you can see throughout these, is use lots of bright, bold colors. We'll be using the Añate symbol throughout the building and some graphics. Very inexpensive to do and adds a lot of interest and excitement to the classrooms. A big Añate. This shows you right at the entrance when you come in from the academic area. As you can see, what you're looking at is the second story looking down. So this is right at the hallway that goes down where the second story takes place, and you have a 2-story high space in that area.
Ron, is that the symbol that the school uses too?
Yes.
That they use that all in school?
Yes. And we'll be introducing some turquoise and so forth into that. The barrel vault, as you can see, that is a theme on the design. It goes all the way down the length of the building. This is that central student commons area that's about 18 foot wide. Portions of that will have a skylight that's rounded, and that's an insulated cow wall type of skylight. And then other portions of it are solid, but the inside would be round to give that effect of a lot more spaciousness in there. And what we've done in there throughout, you'll see, and if you remember some of the drawings that we've shown in some of the other schools, there'll be lots of banners that are very inexpensive to buy, but add to the sound deadening quality. They'll add a lot of color, and they're hung across the corridor in the high spaces, and they absorb sound. So they act to give a lot of liveliness to the space as kids go from one class to another.
So that'll be included in all.
That's all included in the pricing that you'll see as on section 5 of design development package. Let's look at the next one there. And this is actually coming this way, one corridor at the juncture of the, let me see if I can get that a little bit over here. This is the main entry to the building as the student drop-off comes down. Administration is over here. The design element for a clock that would be as a central transitional spot. This rock that's on this wall is the rock that you saw in the rendering for the student commons area. That's the back side of it. This starts the transition down into the academic space. When you come this way, you're going into the drama, the gymnasium, the PE facilities. Remember, you can see on the rendering, we're using concrete block as an exterior material. A split face that we will be staining and sealing and using different colors to gain the effect of the design. We're using some ceramic tile too on the outside. And you can take a raw concrete block. It has to be sealed anyway, even if it's a pre-finished, integral color. The media center will be glass that you can look into and see books, see the different things that are going on. The same thing about seeing into the commons area. A lot of interaction of space throughout. It'll appear much larger than it really is. All of the lockers also give you a complete outline specification as to the materials and to the quality that we're looking at using at Añate. Item 5 is a detailed cost breakdown. We've done this at this early stage. This is a very detailed cost breakdown of every piece of glass, the square footage of tile, the amount of block, the windows, everything is included in that. And we've broken it down into the major sections for you. The actual cost breakdown that we've done is about 45 pages of very detailed. We've just given you the block amounts as it shows. We've done this to say, are we in the budget? And as you can see from the estimate, which is 20.2 million approximately, we are definitely within the budget. And that includes gross receipts tax. That includes the site development that we've talked about. We put in $400,000 extra into the site development to take care of if we have to do on-site sewer disposal, and we have to take care of some extensions of some gas and developing our own water tank, storage tank for emergency purposes. All those, so we have some things, if in the development with the city, if some of this is taken care of, well, then some of that money will be freed up to be used in other areas. And then the last item, which we always do at this time, and actually one of the first things we do, we wanted it there for your review, is a complete code review. So as you can see what code this building falls within, and those review items that are in that code analysis is what we're designing the building around so that it meets all the life safety code, all the handicap access codes that are with the state and the federal, and of course the state building codes and the UBC, which we're under.
The idea of moving forth with a student health office or a clinic, a student health clinic, is that included in here?
What we have is a medical technology classroom. I don't think we have a student health clinic as such, but we do have a student technology, medical technology classroom that they had thought that some of that was going to be taken care of. Now, we do have a clinic from the standpoint that we have a couple beds and a nurse's station, if that's what you're talking about.
No, not really. I think what we were talking about was more, at least informally what we were talking about was the idea of having actual, either a nurse practitioner or some other kind of service that where they would be able to see students that might have some health needs.
The nursing station area will basically be an oversized area to develop that capability should it develop in the future where we have staffing money, supply money, and all of that. And right around the corner will be the medical technology classroom so they can kind of support each other and service each other. So in a general sense, the capability will be there with the understanding that in the future as funding and maybe other agencies such as local hospitals or state agencies get involved, that we could expand that to do those types of things.
Where is that, Carl?
In the administration,
You want to be able to hold at least one class in and out. That's what we found.
no, there's the school of thought that you make it for the entire school, and that's 2,000. It would be very expensive to do that. So then we look at the other alternatives. 600 is a very good size auditorium, and especially, this is going to be a full-fledged auditorium with complete sound, complete lighting, fly stage, firewall.
Originally, we talked
Orchestra
about
pit.
50, so we're going up to 600.
Well, let me ask you, there was, if you were talking about perhaps having graduation ceremonies there, what would be the capacity? Would that be way too small?
You'd probably just be able to invite the parents after the graduating class.
You got to deal with the grandma. One of the users of the auditorium, Mr. Fan, and I see. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, an auditorium of 1,000 is not a very close personal experience. So if you have a small ensemble performing in a 1,000-seat auditorium, that's a real acoustical problem. We start to run into all kinds of acoustical. It turns into a barn sometimes. We'd have to have probably another $30,000 or $40,000 of acoustical treatment in the auditorium to accommodate an additional, let's say, 400 seats. Also, we would hardly ever fill it up. There'd be 2 or 3 times a year that we would fill it up for like band concerts and music concerts. 600 people. I had a band concert last night of 300 or 400. We would feel like we had people there, but 1,000 seat, we wouldn't even have it half full, and we probably only use those seats once or twice a year.
You're happy with 600?
I'm very excited about 600.
Well, we're really not working with somebody, Madam President, school board member. I'm concerned about, maybe it may seem trivial to some, is the landscaping. We had talked about this earlier, but I'd like to bring it up. I fully believe that this school should be fully landscaped, not partial landscaped. This is going to make a statement for Las Cruces. It's quite an addition to Las Cruces, and if we build a facility such as the one that we're contemplating building and only landscape portions of it, it's going to really distract from it, I think, and also will hinder to the wear and tear of the building, such as Oñate is going through, with being no landscaping at all, basically.
So those figures are very accurate figures for Las Cruces.
What kind of water use are you talking about with landscaping that you're using?
I can't give you the exact
I
amount.
mean, is it something that is going to require a lot of water? I mean, I know that you can't tell me exactly gallons, but is it a desert type landscaping, or is it?
We're going to be using grass, obviously, for the football fields and the basketball field, I mean, not basketball, soccer. And we might use grass, I like plenty. And then some heavily grassed areas around the building and then going with some less water-intensive use areas. We have a ponding area that's going to be on the front of the building up to top, which will not have too much grass. But it is grass, and there are trees, but they're going to be very water sensitive. And we'll be having the water at night. In other words, they're not going to be high use, water use plants and so forth. Very little bushes will be used. It will be mostly trees and grass.
Now you'll show us a design.
Oh, definitely. Yes, we have concept only right now, and we've talked about areas and gotten a good feel for square footage cost of highly developed landscaped areas versus just grassed areas. The majority of the property will be grass because the majority of the property is playing fields, our playing fields.
Where is our tree?
Your tree is somewhere. We have somebody locating that, but it's somewhere located right in here. I hope. But we've just had a flyover done by Rolik out of El Paso with our civil engineer, Southwest Engineering, is developing the final grading or some conceptual grading. And their task was to locate that tree because nobody knew exactly where the property line was. Nobody wanted to make a guess. So one of these presentations, I will bring you a picture of it and show you.
Mr. Larson, did I see your hand raised?
I have a small concern after a couple months ago when we had a scare from the Middle East that they said we were going to have trouble with possible terrorist attacks, and the school came out with a plan. And that plan called for all the windows in the classroom doors, the windows in the libraries to be covered up so that anyone running down the hall couldn't see in. And here we are designing a building with glass that covers the whole wall of the library, windows in the doors, in the classrooms, maybe windows in the walls. This concerns me just a little bit. If we have another terrorist scare like we had a couple of months ago, you come up with a plan, what are we going to do, paint these windows over? Just keep that in mind when you approve something like this that has all this glass for people to see in, when we want to cover it up to keep people from seeing in.
Control or jurisdiction over that, Mrs. Larson?
Have you asked them?
We have media, we have the press right here on the front table. And they have access to all of that information today.
Have you asked them to bring it?
I would think that our public relations person, Joe Galvan, is working very closely with them. But I think it's certainly up to their publisher and editor in order to work with their paper to come up with that. I think it's what's news, Mr. Larson.
Tom had that question anytime I want.
We encourage that, Mrs. Larson, but